Well, today we are going to talk about um, something that it's supposed that you had to do as a homework, that was reading. There were many things that you um, should do, but one of them was talking about what kind of problem solver are you? Okay, and I remember that I sent you um, this information that it's about that different people solve their problems in different ways. So you have to think about when you have a problem, what do you do? And there are three approaches to problems. So some people are or belong to the group assertive. Other people belong to the group meditative, and other people belong to the group cooperative. Okay. You can say, what's the meaning of this? Well, if you belong to the group of assertive people, it's supposed that you prefer action to talk. So assertive, you like to do things. You don't talk about, you don't think about, you do. Yes. So when you are faced with a problem, you immediately try to work out a solution, to try to find a solution. Okay, very good. I don't belong to this group. I don't know you, then you're going to tell me next class if you belong to this group or not. Yes? Well, meditative. As you can understand, when you have a problem, you sit down and think about it, about the problem, okay? Some people even do research. Remember research, you investigate, you try to find the reason why different kinds of, in order to understand the problem. So, I can say that I belong to this group. Yes, I'm not very good at making decisions quickly, if there's a problem or not. Yeah, it's something for me is very difficult. So I can say that I'm meditative. What's the meaning? Well, I have a problem or a situation, so I think about it. Yes, I spend some time thinking about it. And it's true that sometimes I do research because I need something that makes me feel comfortable with my decision, that I'm not going to make a mistake. Yeah. So this idea. Sometimes, and this is true, the answer to the problem, I mean, what can I do? What should I do? What must I do? Comes to me, yes, if I don't act on something right away. What's the meaning? If I act right away, I'm going to make a mistake. But if I do nothing, only waiting, yes, this is enough to solve the problem correctly. So it's very good if you are like this, if you belong to this group. But you also, there is another group that is the cooperative group. So the idea is these people find that the easiest way to solve a problem, a situation, doesn't matter which one it could be, what do they do? Ask for help, right? It's like you need another, according I'm reading, you need another person's perspective, another person's point of view, another person's opinion, right? And what is the meaning? That these people cooperate, help you to find a solution, to come up with Yes. So at the end, find the solution, right? This is very good. Remember that we are talking about different approaches to solving problems, no? The idea of to find solutions when you have to make a decision, for example, that would be important in your life. Well, that's okay. This was one thing to talk about, a topic to talk about. And I remember that talking about solving problems and talking about specifically the third group, the cooperative ones, that is a group in which people need help, yes, ask for help, yes, needs another person's point of view, um, to be able to find a solution, yes. Uh, we can connect this idea with the idea of if you are good at giving advices. Because if a person that belongs to the group of these cooperative people that need help finding a way to answer a question in order to solve a problem, well, what is something that you should do or not? So something interesting I found is this: when you have a problem and you need other people's opinion, what happens? Suppose that you are giving your opinion to someone, right? Well, but there are things that you have to do, and there are things that you don't have to do to help others. Maybe you think that you are helping, but you are really not doing so. So the idea is the first thing you should keep in mind is don't take responsibility for your friend's troubles. Okay? You have to be there. You have to listen to the problem. You have to, how can I say, stay, yes, with them. So you have to be there. But don't try to take over the problem for them. Understand? So one thing to think about is I'm not responsible for his or her problem. This is the first thing we have to think about. Yes. Uh, when a person needs our help, something else we should do is don't judge the person. This one is asking me questions about everything. This person is always trying to copy my ideas, or the way I solve my own problems. And well, don't be judgmental, we can say. Yes. Um, the idea is don't judge people. If they need help, well, you try to give your point of view. Only that. Yes. Um, the idea is that something that you have to do is to reflect their feelings as they talk. So when a person is asking you, can you help me with this situation I'm living nowadays that I can't find a solution? I would like to listen to what would you do if you were in my place? If you were, the idea is living the situation. Well, for example, the first thing you should say is, suppose you can say, I can see that this situation is frustrating for you. So like you understand what the other person is feeling, okay? Yes, but you reflect. So you make the other person understand that you can see how difficult it is for him or her finding a solution. Yes, and then you can give your opinion, right? So the reason why you are giving your opinion is because you see, you understand how frustrating, how disappointing, how can I say, uncomfortable the situation is for that person. There you go. This is number 3. Number 4, the idea is if you are going to have a short conversation with that person, I mean, well, tell me the problem. Tell me, when did you start having this problem? Tell me, try to tell me, how important is the situation for you. Um, so the questions that you are going to ask that person, they have to be open-ended questions. An open-ended question is the contrary of yes no questions, right? So for example, how did you feel? So what the person, the problem is with the, I don't know, her father. Okay. And you can say, how did you feel the last time you had the chance to talk to your father? So it's like the other person has to think and not only tell you yes, no, give the opinion. So according to the answer, you can give an advice. Yes. Well, the idea is that something else, and the last one, but not for being the last, is the least important, in my opinion, is the most important, is that you have to remember um, that if we always permit our friends to use us or our ideas, understand? Uh, and we show that we are comforting them. Yeah? So we are always there to comfort, to help. We are always there with the exact word to use. Yes. What happens? It would prevent them from taking responsibility for their own problems. So we have to be sure that we are giving our advice, but if a person is always asking us what is our opinion about his or her problems, well, we have to think. Is the similar to the first one. Don't take responsibility for your friend's problems. Yes, but in this case is um, that you should try to help them to try to think for themselves, yeah, that they can, that they are able, that if you can find a solution, they also can find a solution. Yes, they can also find a solution. Yes, so that you're not going to be always there to help them. Yes, that they should believe that they can make a good choice when they are thinking about what to do, talking about solving a problem, right? Well, more or less, this is something that I wanted to talk to you about the readings that I sent you the week before last week. Well, now, something important to do that I would like to do as a homework. Remember that all this started at the beginning of this year when we started talking about typical. Are you typical? What kind of people are creative people? Are they typical? Is creativity something typical in our lives? I mean, everybody is creative, yeah? Well, talking about if you are typical or not, uh, something that I hope that you can do for next class is, I'm writing parent and teenage teen. Parents, teens. So you're going to make a list, yes, about parents and teens, okay? Parents, teens. Right. And I'm going to ask you a question and you're going to try to answer. What a typical, in your opinion, what a typical parent should do and what a typical teenager should do. So the first question I would like you, I'm going to repeat it 2 or 3 times and then you copy, is this. The first question is, what are some of their concerns? What are some of their concerns? Know that a concern is a worry. When you are worried about something, talking about problems, you are worried about. So the idea is, what are some of their concerns? So what are some of parents' concerns and what are some of teenagers' concerns? Okay? Uh, I don't know if teenagers, the typical teenager is concerned about, for example, nowadays, um, online classes. Having online classes instead of going to the university, the high school, see your teachers, ask questions, the possibility to meet your friends, see everybody without any problems, as we used to do, well, in 2019. Yes, the idea is this is a concern. The typical teenager nowadays is concerned about this illness. The typical parent, is a typical parent concerned, in your opinion, is a typical parent concerned about, for example, nowadays, concerned about, let me see, maybe changing jobs, finding a new job, the possibility nowadays, many people are working at home, changing the way they work. Many of them are losing their jobs. Others are having a hard time, how can I say, like trying to do something different. Yes, studying, learning, yes, changing. Well, I don't know what are some of their concerns, the typical parent and the typical teenager. Second question, their most, we're going to talk about their most valued possession. Well, I don't know if you, their most, the idea is, what is their most valued possession? Mm, Suppose that we could say, well, for my mother, her most valued possession is, and you think, maybe you ask her, for a typical teenager, what is the most valued possession of a typical teenager? You can say, I don't know, the cell phone. I don't know, it's up to you. Remember that it's not your most valued possession, it's the typical teenager's most valued possession. Very good. Next class we talk about this. Number 3. How much time do you spend with friends? How much time do you spend with friends? So spend with friends, maybe time. Time, they, time they spend with friends. Time they spend with friends. Okay? So forget the pandemic. So imagine that we are living, that it's possible to meet everybody or to have a reunion. The idea is the typical parents. How much time do your parents or do the typical parents, in your opinion, spend with friends, not family members, friends? And teenagers, how much time teenagers spend with friends? The typical teenager. You can answer. You can try to brainstorm the idea, and you can think about, for example, maybe teenagers spend the weekends with friends. Okay, maybe you can tell me in the afternoon, at night, maybe where, I mean, different things, okay? And the typical parent too. Well, the other question is, what do they use internet for? Use the internet for studying, learning how to cook, playing, um, visiting different. The idea is the chatting, you know, making friends, making new friends, you know. So, uh, so the question is, what do they use the internet for? The typical parent uses the internet for doing what? The typical teenager uses the internet for doing what? And the last question is, what do they like to do on vacation? So, on vacation, you can think about your own experience in your family with your parents, but you can think about what your friends tell you about what they have done on vacation, and they talk about what their parents have done. So, the typical teenager, the typical parent, what do they like to do on vacation? Okay, right? What do they like to do on vacation? Well, the answer to these questions, you are going to answer here. Parents, teens. Typical parent, typical teen. Okay? Yes? Well, in order to to finish with the idea of the units we were talking and studying before the vacation. I don't know, you can say generally, for example, generally, the typical teenager is concerned about friends. You can say, well, while the typical parent, for example, is concerned about the children, right? This is one idea, okay? Well, and something else that I would like you to start today, we are going to start talking about learning the meaning of many these items. What is this? This is a verb with a with part of a sentence that has a meaning, but the meaning is completely different from the meaning of the verb. And I'm going to start with one of them. Suppose that we're going to use the verb drive. We're going to use the verb get, and we're going to use the verb make. Drive, get, make, okay? Right. With the verb drive, there are a lot of items, but today I'm going to give one example of each of them, and then I'm going to send an email with other examples, okay? And next class, we are going to talk about them, and I'm going to give you more, yes? Right. When we talk about, for example, the verb drive, and we have this, it's like an expression, yes? An idiomatic expression. Drive someone crazy. Drive someone crazy. So what happens if you say, this morning I met one of my neighbors, right, an old woman that is always talking about negative things. It's very hard when I meet her and I have to say hello and I have to share some minutes with her. This person drives me crazy. What's the meaning? Maybe it's very simple to understand, but instead of saying this person makes me feel crazy, this person makes me feel nervous and stressed, instead of all of this, you can say, I don't know, Susan drives me crazy. And that's okay. And everybody understands. With the verb get, for example, we can say, let me see, get on, wait, someone's nerves. Right. With the verb get, pay attention. Get on someone's nerves. Get on someone's nerves. Well, example, this morning I was walking down the street and I met my neighbor Susan. She's always pessimistic. This morning was not the exception, and she started talking about all the problems she has been having lately. Susan gets on my nerves, drives me crazy, gets on my nerves. So more or less, these two expressions, one with the verb drive and the other with the verb get, both more or less have the same meaning. A person drives me crazy. For example, you can say, these people that never find a solution. They have a problem. They're always asking what to do, asking me ideas, asking me about can you help me solve my problem? These kind of people drive me crazy or get on my nerves. More or less, it's the same idea. Okay. Well, and another, let me see, with the verb make, we have, no? Yes. So we can say, let me see, drive me crazy, get on my nerves. Wait. Make someone sick. Make someone sick. So you can say, again, I met Susan. Um, I started feeling bad the moment she opened her mouth, telling me everything all the problems she has and she can't find solutions for them. Okay. Uh, Anytime I meet her, she's a woman that makes me sick. She's a woman who makes me sick. So this expression is similar to get on my nerves and is similar to drive me crazy. So she drives me crazy. She gets on my nerves. She makes me sick. So the three expressions, the three of them with different verbs, drive, get, make, but these expressions drive someone crazy, get on someone's nerves, make someone sick, more or less have the same meaning, more or less. Then you're going to see, read the mail I'm going to send you, right? Well, this was the beginning. It's supposed that next class we're going to continue and we are going to add many expressions with the same three verbs for this month, April. In May, we're going to start with other verbs, using other verbs with an expression that changes completely the meaning of the verb. And we're going to do this till December. So at the end of the year, you are going to find that when you want to say something, you can express, you can use different expressions instead of always that person irritates me. But instead of irritates, you can say that person gets on my nerves, right? I always have to, call, I don't know, one of my aunts, and she's a woman that you can say, after talking to her, I feel completely stressed. So you can say, that person drives me crazy. So you can use expressions that are shorter, right? But expresses many things. And these expressions are used by, many people uses them. So when you watch films, when you listen to different listening comprehensions, you are going to find, you are going to discover, you are going to live this situation that people use these expressions frequently, right? Well, next class we are going to continue. Okay? Well, bye bye.